My name is Greg Nelgis. Today's video is in support of Sonoran Desert Institute's FTH 202 revolvers, Module 4 assignment. And today's date is 18 May 2024. There's no live ammunition in the workspace, and the revolver is visually and physically inspected and free of ammunition. My references for this assignment is the week or module 4 lecture, as well as this book's Pistol Smithing by George C. Nanti Jr. And I used that for a reference for part of the video. Part of the assignment is define or to tune the internal components to improve the trigger pull. The initial trigger pull after a series of several trigger pulls for the initial test, it came out to be an average of 11.5 pounds. Okay, going out of sequence slightly, we're going to go ahead and check the no-go of each cylinder or each chamber within the cylinder. We have no live ammunition. We do not have a functional revolver, and nothing in the chambers at this time. We have removed the internal components so they don't interfere with the rotation of the cylinder within the frame. So first off, we'll get our go gauge, and we'll insert it into a chamber within the cylinder, and we're going to rotate it and attempt to rotate it into position such that it would be in line with the bore and looking for little to no resistance, and it passes the go gauge. So then we repeat that same chamber with the no-go gauge, expecting it not to be able to close into position, and in fact that is the case. It meets considerable resistance. We won't force it, so that passes the no-go gauge. And what now we do is we put a little mark on that cylinder or that chamber of the cylinder with a grease pencil or some other method, so that we know we've checked that, and we repeat that for the remaining chambers within the cylinder. All right, for this part of the video, we're going to talk about the areas that I stoned and or polished using either a ceramic stone or the Flitz polishing compound. And the first part on the frame that I stoned was right in this area right here, because there's a little bit of wear, I assume, from where the trigger rides on it, and up in here, and right through here where the hammer rides as well. So that did some light stoning there. And that's about it for the frame, I believe. We'll go on to the side plate. And the side plate, I stoned in this area right here. You see these, what looked like were high spots before, and I stoned those down where they were engaged in the hammer, the side of the hammer where it rides along in there. And I think that's it. I think there was some light stoning right here as well. And let's go to the trigger. Trigger, I stoned this side right here where it rides against the frame, and this where it rides against the transfer bar of the frame here. And I also polished with the Flitz. I polished this surface right here where it engages the double action sear. And onto the slide or cylinder stop, I polished this with some Flitz where it engages, or where it drags on the cylinder, the side of the cylinder. And I also polished with Flitz this surface where the trigger disengages the slide stop. And hammer, did some polishing here, as you can see. I try to get the angle on it there with the ceramic stone, and a little bit here as well. And then finally, with the ceramic stone, I polished the second double action sear right in this surface, this area right here. I got a little bit here too. You can see there's a low spot there. I wasn't trying to get it all out because I was afraid that would take too much material off, and really just trying to provide a smoother surface for the double action sear and the trigger to engage. And the last thing I polished, or I worked on, was for extra credit, I suppose, the hand. I polished this surface right here so it'd be smoother if it engaged the frame at all. And you can see these weld spots from the pins they're left there. And I also took down the edges wrong here, and anywhere that it might have engaged the frame to keep it from dragging on the frame. And that's pretty much it for my stonework. I did lightly stone these surfaces, but not very much because I didn't want to change the geometry. Okay, we're done polishing and testing the trigger weight. So first of all, no ammunition in the store in the work area, and the revolver is clear and safe visually and physically. We're going to go ahead and insert some snap caps. The first thing I'm supposed to address is how the gun feels after we stoned the various surfaces of the components internally. And I will tell you that my initial impression was that it lightened the trigger and it felt smoother. So when I tested the trigger with the trigger pull gauge, I was actually shocked to learn it didn't really do anything. It tested out to be 11 3/4 pounds, so it didn't really do anything to lighten it. But I felt it was noticeably smoother. That was dry, if you may recall. I assembled dry because I wanted to see what difference lubrication made. So then I did the trigger pull weight again, and I was a little shocked. I thought it'd be a little lighter, and it was actually 1/4 pound more. So was it 11 3/4 dry? 12 pounds is what it averaged out to be wet, and that was just a very light coat of this modern Spartan Systems accuracy oil, which I've never used before this program, the SDI program. Very light coat. So 1/4 pound difference. What does that mean? Probably within the margin of error. Probably doesn't mean anything. It probably means that the oil didn't really help. It could be if there was a heavier coat of oil, it could cause friction, but that's not the case here. I think it was just indiscernible. The last thing I'm supposed to mention is your thoughts on what could be done differently to make the process smoother. I'm not sure if they're talking about the process of the work or smoother results resulting from the work. I think it's a process of the work. And in that case, I would say really nothing. It's self-explanatory. It's pretty straightforward, a process of disassembling a revolver and stoning the surfaces. If there was one thing that could make it smoother, that'd be the individual doing the work would need to have a firm understanding of which surfaces interact with other surfaces within the firearm and the various components. All right, we'll wrap this video up. We did the headspace check out of order, so that's it, the first part of the video. But we've no ammunition in the work area, and our Taurus 856 is safe and clear. We're going to go ahead and insert some snap caps. So on this last segment of the video, we installed the Galloway Precision action springs, the lighter action springs in this revolver, both the mainspring and the trigger return spring. And the results are noticeably lighter, to say the least. And I don't think they impacted the smoothness so much, but that was probably due to the stoning and polishing. And now, while I did replace the mainspring on the hammer strut, I took the hammer strut and the edges, I kind of hit those with the stone just to make sure there weren't any burrs or anything on them. That could be an issue to keep your spring from compressing properly. But our final trigger pull with the stoning job still have a light coat of oil in there, and the Galloway Precision springs, we're looking at 7.5 pounds. It was super consistent. It's the most consistent trigger pull I've had throughout this. I did 3 or 4 times in a row, and every one was right at 7.5 pounds. So that's a considerable improvement, and it feels good to me. I wouldn't have a problem running it like this. To me, I don't know if you ran it fast enough. I don't think you can outrun the trigger on this. At least I can't. But that's it. That's a wrap for this video. Hopefully I hit all my marks.